Hello everyone, my name is Carol and I'd like to welcome you on board Absolute's new 60 Fly, the Absolute Prisma. I'll be accompanied by Cesare and Valentina, who will help us unveil the many facets of this revolutionary fly. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hello Valentina, what a pleasure it is to see you here again in Varazze. And above all, what a pleasure it is to finally get on board Absolute's latest creation. We've heard so much about this boat in the past few months. So it's the so-called Prisma. So tell me, why is she called Prisma?
Well, first of all, hi Carol, very nice to see you here. So why prism? Because the prism, as we all know, is a refractive object, so it reflects the light, but mainly it divides the light that passes through it, creating a rainbow. So we could say that the prism actually creates the light. Why we decided to call the boat Prism? Because for us, our boat will help and will give the possibility to our owner to enjoy different experiences on board, both concerning sociability, concerning comfort, but mainly by enjoying life on board in the interior and exterior spaces.
Indeed, a revolutionary boat. So Valentina, what are the aspects that will allow the owner to experience this evolution?
Well, we think that the revolution has happened in three main crucial aspects. First of all, the position of the owner's cabin, because this is going to be the first ever fly with the owner's cabin at the bow. We actually define the cabin of the owner more of a quarter, but you'll see why. Then the second aspect we feel like it's gonna groundbreak the market basically is the cockpit, because with the lack of fixed and structural elements, the owner will have all the possibilities to furnish it wherever and however he's gonna want. And last but not least, the flybridge. The flybridge has incredible dimension for its category, and of course a glass railing at the back, and a particular design of the railing that connects the GRP with the stainless steel very elegantly and with a nice touch. But enough sneak peeks, let's get on board. The Absolute 60 Fly has a length overall of 18.66 meters. There are 61 feet and 3 inches, and her maximum beam is 4 meters, 94. There are 16 feet and 3 inches. She is powered by number 2 Volvo Penta D11 IPS 950. There are 533 kilowatt each, which allow her to reach a maximum speed of 29 knots. The lower deck layout offers 3 double cabins and 3 heads, plus double crew with ensuite head. The fuel tank capacity is 2,800 liters. There are 739.68 US gal, while the freshwater tanks hold up to 730 liters, water heater included. There are 192.84 US gal. The Absolute Fly range is undergoing a revolution, starting with the 60 Fly. The protagonists of the boat's side view are the bow windows, dedicated to the owner's quarter. The hull and superstructure are embellished with different finishes and contrasting colors that act as a common thread, intertwining all the structural elements. Her streamlined shape is enhanced by the new cut-off tail design at the stern, where, right beside it, we find the groundbreaking cockpit terrace. Welcome on board! So the first section that I'd like to show you is the transom. The design of the transom has focused mainly on the dimension of the platform. As you can see, it's super wide. Other than the self-propelled section, which is obviously useful for holding the tender or accessing the water, we added a fixed section, which is something that we find usually on much larger vessels.
Valentina, what are the advantages of this fixed section?
Well, first and foremost, it is useful for the crew to access the crew cabin even when the platform is lowered. But I'll get into that more later on during the visit. So, speaking about the platform, as you can see, the dimension of the fixed one and the self-propelled section leads up to having a 2-meter long area, which easily fits 2 sunbeds easily.
And tell me, what are these plates?
These are the housings of the carbon poles that's going to hold up the awning. So a novelty with these plates is that they have an integrated lid with a spring inside, so you don't have to remove the lid physically to put on the carbon poles. So pretty genius, I think.
Great. Well, Valentina, the attention to details on this boat is truly impressive. And the contrasting colors of the sort of cut-off tail here definitely elevate the decor and evoke the motive that we've also seen on the flybridge pillars.
Exactly, but the care is not limited to the design. Just think of the use of the stainless steel, not just for mooring gear, but also for the doors housing the shower that you can see on port side, as well as for the doors housing the cable master on starboard side, and the overall, again, quality of the mooring gear. We have retractable cleats, solid fairleads, winches, all positioned in an ergonomic and functional way. Also, check out the new elegant design of the access glass gates. They have a new easy lock-unlock opening mechanism. And finally, as if that wasn't enough, this whole area is enhanced by the lighting design. In fact, we added decorative blue LED light, which looks great at night. You'll see. But now let's jump on board and see the cockpit. The boat we are visiting now has the groundbreaking solution on it. As you can see, this is rather innovative. In fact, we have a complete lack of structural elements, and the geometry of the space can be configured and can be combined however the owner might want.
Well, the size of this cockpit is impressive. I've never seen so much space and such a welcoming and panoramic view on any other 60 Fly.
Exactly. This is the version that we call terrace, let's say, and we have really exceeded our expectations because, again, the lack of structural elements maximizes the versatility of this space. From our tour back on Navetta 64, you should remember that the TF Terrace Atmosphere modules are modular furniture that can be combined together very easily, and here we have them again. This time we have decided for an anthracite grey finish for the structure, but the color of the fabric is still a sun grey. And what else? For this area, other than the TF atmosphere modules, you can choose between 2 different tables, but you'll see more in a video that we're gonna see together. The versatility of the cockpit area is maximized by the presence of the TF terrace atmosphere modules. There are modular pieces of furniture that can be combined in countless ways to fit every occasion. The set we offer for the 60 Fly cockpit terrace allows the owner to create different settings for every time of the day. If the occasion calls for chit-chat and drinks, the solutions might be 3 two-seat sofas placed in a U-shape, facing aft, enjoying the views of the sea, or a 3-seat sofa and 2 armchairs. While, if the aim is to set a dinner party, the best fit might be 2 3-seat sofas facing each other. These are just a couple of examples, but believe us, the configurations are endless. To complete all the potential settings, we offer 2 types of tables. The first one being a foldable teak table with a single steel leg. This table is fixed to the floor, but can slide more towards the bow or more towards the aft, and can be positioned in 3 different placements. Its height can also be adjusted, so that it can serve as a coffee table or a proper dining one. The other table available is entirely made of teak, again with adjustable height, but this time it is not fixed to the floor. Rather, it can be removed and stowed away if necessary. This table again can serve both as a coffee table or a dining one. Finally, a set of 6 teak chairs is available, suitable for both types of tables, instead of the TF Terrace Atmosphere modules. The modular pieces of furniture are extremely easy to combine. while being extremely comfortable and elegant.
Well, indeed, this is definitely a proper terrace on the sea. And with the glass railing, the whole space opens up even more so, making us feel like front row spectators.
Exactly.
But what if the owner and his guests want a little bit more privacy?
We have a solution for that too. In fact, we offer 3 electrical privacy sunshades for the cockpit, 1 towards the aft and 2 at the sides. And the 3 of them can also be fixed to the structure of the boat for extra safety for the breeze or the wind. And also to maximize the use of this space, we are also offering a closing sheet so that the owner might take advantage of bad weather, but still they're closing in the cockpit.
So Chisara, what exactly is in this cabinet?
This is a very convenient storage and elegant indeed, but also a practical small dashboard, external one, the so-called third mooring station, where you have start and stop from the engines, IPS drive control, boat thruster control, and last but not least, audio control here for your parties.
So everything is at your fingertips, and it's in a very strategic position so that you can easily communicate also with personnel on the dock.
Yes, exactly. But consider that this area is not only functional, I mean technical, it is also convenient for entertaining your guests. And you see we have an elegant solution. Pay attention to the roof, which is covered by soft covers, and you have also flashed mounted lights.
And I also see 2 loudspeakers on the ceiling.
Let me correct you, we have 4 loudspeakers on the ceiling, which are connected with the general source of audio on board, so you can connect all the areas in the so-called party mode if you have a lot of guests.
Cesare, I am just so impressed with the size of this cockpit. And even these 2 cantilevered steps that lead to the flybridge add even more space to the area. But tell me one thing, what is this hatch?
This hatch? This is the main entrance to the engine's room, or I should say the traditional one, because there is another, more convenient, more easy, placed inside of the crew cabin, but this will be explained later on.
Before letting you appreciate the comfort and safety of the walkways, I want to draw your attention to a specific detail and novelty of this boat. As you can see here, the overhang of the flybridge actually can cover almost the full length of the walkway. And this happened because we could completely maximize the space and the floor on the flybridge. And this is a great novelty. Also, this overhang is, of course, covered with microfiber and provided with lighting.
Very nice, and I don't think I've seen this solution on any other Absolute flybridge range.
No, it's not, because we usually provide this on Navetta range. But since it is much appreciated feature on those models, we decided to design it also for this new Revolution flybridge range. But let's go on. Here we can find a deep tray for the fuel intakes that actually prevent accidental spillage.
Very minimal and very well integrated into the design of the boat.
Yes, exactly. Let's go on a little bit further, where we find these side access doors, which are very useful when you are more to the side.
Very useful indeed.
Yes.
And I'm also pleased to see that the pilot house has an integrated side captain door.
Yes, this has become one of our trademarks. We have it on all of our models, and this particular feature is appreciated both by captains, where actually are the owners of the boats, but also full-on captain, because this is very useful when you have to talk to the personnel on the dock, but also when you're mooring by yourself. And last but not least, check out the height of the railing. This makes you feel so secure and so safe.
Indeed.
Here we are at the bow, an area full of new features. First and foremost, represented by this new sunbed. And as you can see, this has a fold-down backrest that turns one section into another sofa.
So in addition to the people sitting on the sofa, those sitting on the sunbed can also easily use the table.
Exactly. And also the table is foldable and it has an adjustable height, so it can fit any kind of occasion.
Now, Valentina, I see this material. This seems new to me, or am I wrong?
No, you're right. In fact, instead of plexiglass, we used this material, which is Korean, and you will see later on the fly where we have put this also. And last but not least, on the bow, as on all of our models, we have a separate radio control and 2 loudspeakers. And thanks to the party mode function, the whole boat can play the same music.
Valentina, there is an awning in this area, isn't there?
Yes, of course, supported by 4 carbon poles. But if you want to create the right atmosphere for the evening, you can just turn up the pop-up lights. Moving on to yet another novelty, this time a more technical one. So, in the physical mold of the boat, we have provided this recess that allows the chain counter cable to pass through the hatch. In this way, the chain counter remains connected inside the hatch, but it's not necessary to secure the hatch door to the pulpit to use the chain counter control. And finally, here at the bow, as on all of our boats, we have the deck cleaning system, as well as a pull-out shower.
Very impressive, and I feel like I'm on a boat that's much bigger than 60 feet.
And you have yet to see the flybridge. And as I told you, the feeling of being on a much larger boat will accompany us throughout the whole visit.
And as if the terrace in the cockpit wasn't enough, there's another one here on the flybridge.
Exactly. And in addition to the floor, which we maximized to the fullest, the implementation of this glass railing towards the aft really does the trick. But this came not without any effort, because our technical office and our designers really did some studies on these. But let's see the exact test we carried out at the shipyard.
Very cool.
Yes, it is. But the stylistic details keep on coming. In fact, check out how this stainless steel railing really blends in with the fiberglass structure. And this also is painted in different colors, so extra touch and elegant to the whole side of the boat.
Very elegant. And here in this area as well, the owners can rearrange the furnishings to suit their needs using these sunbeds or the TF atmosphere modules.
Exactly. Let's take a look at how they can combine them all together. As seen for the cockpit terrace, the flybridge can be furnished with a second set of TF terrace atmosphere modules, ever so slightly different. Needless to say that this area can be transformed completely in a matter of minutes, just by combining the modular pieces in different ways. Here you can see just a few examples of the configurations, all of which have wonderful views thanks to the glass balustrade towards the aft. Instead of TF terrace atmosphere modules, the flybridge terrace can be furnished with 2 lounges to maximize the standing areas. And if the owners want more shade, they can actually honor a sunshade that's retractable and electrical that comes out from the hardtop, and it protects the whole terrace on the flybridge. Furthermore, in this area, we have another pull-out shower right there and the housing of the life raft.
And Valentina, what about in colder months? Can the flybridge be closed off like in the cockpit?
Yes, the owner may order a closing sheet that closes the whole hardtop area, so they can enjoy their dining area and the cooking area, both in colder months. Also, this hardtop closing sheet is made of a new material for us that's called strata glass, and it implements bigger transparent sections.
I see, Valentina, moving towards the bow, that there are no steps.
Yes, and this feature will come up a lot during our tour. But let's get on with what's new on the flybridge. As I mentioned at the bow, we have this new material for the countertop here on the fly, which is the same one of the glass holders at the side of the sunbed at the bow. And this wet bar holds a BBQ, a hidden sink, and plenty of countertops, and you can cook here. It's basically an outdoor galley.
And Valentina, what is this hook for?
Oh, this is a new thing. As you can see, there's a hole in here, so you can hang this counter in there when you're using the sink.
That is genius and so functional.
Exactly.
And I see below 2 doors which hide the fridge and the ice maker, right?
Exactly, so you don't have to go down to the galley to get cold drinks. The fly bridge can be fully exploited also thanks to this dining table, which is made of teak completely. And as you can see, we have a wraparound sofa all around, which easily fit 6 or 7 people. And all this area is actually protected by an hardtop. And as you can see, the level of details on the hardtop is amazing. All the ceiling is covered. We have LED lights and recessed pop-up lights.
Now, does the hardtop have an opening section?
No, because thanks to being actually all closed off, it protects you from the sun rays. But other than protecting you from the sun rays, it exploits the sun rays because we have added a set of solar panels above the hardtop, so double functions. But on the fly, there's also plenty of space for the people who would like to soak up the sun. As you can see at the bow, we have a full-on sunbed and a sofa right next to the captains, so they can keep them company.
Let's have a look at the helm station. Cesare, what can you tell us about it?
Well, as for every other Absolute model, we pay utmost attention to the design of the dashboards, both for technology, ergonomics, and visibility, which is very important for safety. First of all, the design of the seats is brand new. The distance from the dashboard is adjustable, as in the angle of the steering wheel. At your fingertips are all the devices you need for navigation, as well as the information gathered in the GPS display, available in 12 or 16 inches versions. Finally, other new features on the dashboard include Volvo Penta's latest generation 9 inches EVC display and the addition of a wireless mobile phone charger, which we'll find also on the main deck dashboard, other than the USB sockets that are already present on all our models.
Lots of novelties. I
Indeed.
can't wait to see what's inside.
Let's go!
Come on, let's discover all the potential that this boat has to offer. In general, the furnishing has focused on the combination of matte Alaska oak as well as a dark glossy lacquered oaks for the furniture. And the floor is made of walnut with a rough finish to it so that it has a greater grip. Also, as a novelty, we have added metal finish kind of look to the uprights on the ceiling, which are very elegant and really embellish the design. And for the lighting, we can see new vertical LED strips, as well as reading lights that are adjustable on the ceiling.
The vibe in here is so elegant, and I see the aft galley as the latest trends dictate.
Exactly, in order to create that contact point between the salon and the cockpit. And to create an even more linked connection between the two of them, there is the possibility to have the combination of the sliding door with the vertical window. This vertical window disappears into a cabinet, which is basically a bar counter that faces the cockpit and the galley.
The space here in this galley is just like the same feeling that you have at home, right?
Yes.
But just looking around and looking outside reminds you that you're definitely not at home.
That's right. Even those who don't like cooking will enjoy cooking in here, I think. And speaking of the galley, we have all the appliances that you will have at home. We have the dishwasher, the microwave oven, a 4-burner cooktop, a full-size refrigerator, while the wine cooler can be installed under the driving seats. There's also plenty of storage spaces to store the crockery, which for the first time we have personalized with the Absolute logo on them.
And opposite the galley, I see we have a very nice dining table, which allow me to say is particularly impressive. thanks to this inlaid wood design.
Yes, and as always, we combine functionality with the design because this table is very nice to look at, but it's also functional because it slides, so we can give the possibility to people sitting on the sofa to feel much comfortable, but also if it slides backwards, there is more room for people walking around in the galley. In this area, we actually find one of the facets that the prism allows us to see. In fact, instead of this U-shaped sofa with dining table, the owner who prefers long crossings and therefore needs more storage space may have a low cabinet with doors. In this way, the dining table will be located in the middle of the boat, in place of the coffee table, in the form of extendable and height adjustable table to serve both as a dining or a coffee table one.
Well, that is definitely a very functional solution. But what about those people who want to host more guests? Do you have any other combinations?
Sure. Another facet is actually represented by the possibility of replacing this TV console cabinet with a smaller one, so that there is more room to welcome 2 armchairs by Minotti, so great design and great quality. Another new feature of the main and lower deck is represented by this new leather handle. Lovely design and very elegant.
Well, who wouldn't want to share this space with family and friends? And as always on Absolute Boats, the windows are the main protagonists, offering all of this transparency aimed at avoiding obstacles between the interior and the panorama.
Yes, not only that, because the main deck of 60 Fly is also full of opening sections to provide air ventilation for when the boat is going in navigation. But let's move to the helm station, where again we'll find lots of new novelties. But before going there, let's recap the different configurations of the salon and the cockpit and how we can combine them all together. The various configurations of Absolute 60 Fly give the owner new perspectives on the boating lifestyle. In the cockpit terrace version, by removing the fixed structural elements, a number of possibilities are created also in connection with the salon layout. That is why we designed the salon in different ways to meet different kinds of necessity. The potential combinations are several, and each of them puts the spotlight on a specific usage of the boat. The configurations may increase storage spaces, dining areas, or even lounging spaces. But what makes the Absolute 60 Fly a great project is the perfect synergy of any salon layout with the various combinations of the TF Terrace Atmosphere modules for the cockpit terrace. On board Absolute yachts, the salon and cockpit are not just 2 adjacent areas, but their continuity is accentuated by their stylistic and design elements. In particular, on board the Absolute 60 Fly, this continuity is emphasized by the furnishings available on board. The owner can choose the most congenial configuration for the interior furnishings, while being able to count on a multitude of configurations for the exterior cockpit furnishings, which can be modulated and customized at any time with extreme ease. In this way, the 2 areas, which are often used simultaneously, are perfectly in tune, both from an aesthetic and a functional point of view.
Chisette, I'm always amazed by the silence that reigns here inside the boat, even while we were reaching 29 knots. And I see that you are particularly at ease as our captain.
Yes, indeed. Consider that comfort is very important when go boating, also for safety. And we developed these new conceived design chairs by cooperating with a specialized company. So this design derives from a combined effort of Absolute and this company. And these are very performing. Let me show you. You can adjust the position backward and forward. You can also use the flap for sitting or standing. And what is really important when you are sitting or standing irrespective, you are, as always, the best visibility 360 degree, which is very important for safety, as you know.
Right, yeah, definitely 360 degrees. And thanks to the glass railing in the cockpit, you can see all the way down the boat to the wake.
Yes, good point. This is very important when moving backward, entering in the mooring, when maneuvering. But in general, we have a lot of support tools for the captain or the owner. For instance, let me mention the side door. This door is essential for everyday operating on the yacht. You can have three important features performed right here. You can easily communicate with the people standing in the pier. Imagine at the gas station, for instance. And you can easily walk out and in when getting the lines and helping other people making the moorings. And last but not least, I can stand out and operate my boat by the joystick while seeing forward and even backward. This is amazing, a very nice feature.
Excellent.
Well, comfort on board for the captain is also important in other senses. For instance, we have dedicated air conditioning outlets. And last but not least, we have also control of the music, the sound system of the boat, directly in the dashboard.
And I see that the lighting in this area is also very particularly well designed, isn't it?
Yes, good point. Because when you go boating by night, you need to have still some lights supporting you, but not flashing in your eyes. So we designed a blue set of LED lighting upward the console and all around to help you while navigating by night. The Absolute 60 Fly performs greatly. We have been able to reach a top speed of 29-30 knots, while the cruising speeds range from 16 to 25 knots. The fuel rate is around 9 liters per nautical mile at all the cruising speeds. These performances have been reached taking in consideration that this boat is heavy loaded of accessories, such as all the thick deck on the upper deck and the main deck, Glendinning cable masters, R-top, hydraulic platform, hydraulic gangway, 2 sets of TF terrace atmosphere modules. Carol, now engines are off, but we are still in a quiet environment because only air conditioning is running, but you don't feel it. Why? We pay great attention to the development of the air conditioning. For the noise, we have created very wide outlets which are blended into the design style of the furniture, so are invisible. But the dimensions guarantee you a slow flow of air, so no kind of noise, and a very, very efficient generation of cool. Second, the flow of the air circulates up and down without flowing against the body of the guest. So you don't have airflow against your skin, which is very important for the comfort on board. And this kind of design was really appreciated by the suppliers. We get many requests of hints, suggestions by them, but we always deny it because there are some secrets under this design.
Well, that is definitely very impressive, Cesare.
Well, I want to impress you even more because we can turn the generator off, open all the windows, the side big window, the captain door, and the sliding door at the entrance. And what do you think about this?
Well, the air circulation is guaranteed, but don't we have to be careful not to drain the batteries while the generator is turned off?
This is exactly the point when I want to get, because we have solar cells panels on the rooftop. So in this moment we get energy from the sunbeams, and this energy drives the fridge, the lighting, the music, the air, the fresh air system, all the things you need when you are in a bay like this. And not only that, we have 1.5 kilowatt of energy coming, which is even more than enough to drive these devices. So part of the energy now flows into the batteries, recharging them. And you may wonder how I know this. Well, we have everything implemented in the control system of the boat, which is shown by the interface of the GPS chart plotter. And therefore, I know exactly the numbers. I mean, how many current of electrical energy flows into the batteries in this moment. If this is not even enough, you can connect with a Bluetooth application developed by Victron in order to get access to the logbook 1 month before of the historical trend of energy for the battery. So everything is under your control.
Well, what can I say? It was already so quiet in here when the generator was on, but now it's just totally silent. So silence, and more importantly, no water pollution, and the design is just beautiful. Who developed it?
Well, this is very important. Absolute coordinated our technicians together with Garmin in order to have the best control system implemented in the dashboard. You see, we have diagnostic and monitoring graphics we developed with them. Everything was made by us internally.
So Carol, let's go to the lower deck where the real revolution starts.
Okay, let's go.
Indeed, the 60 Fly is the first fly boat which has the master cabin at the bow.
The space here is impressive, and look at those huge windows.
But let's go with order. There are several reasons why Absolute decided to place the owner's cabin at the extreme bow. The main ones being greater distance from the engine room, hence from the vibrations or noises. We have a raised position compared to the lower deck, so fewer steps are needed to reach it, of course. But that's not all. A raised position also compared to the waterline, and this involves the implementation of slightly raised forward windows. And this gives better panorama and better views compared to the cabins that are placed at midship, which are next to the other boats. Also, the raised position gave us the possibility to create a storage space placed underneath the owner's cabin. And this space, other than being useful for storage, it's also an access to the technical area placed underneath the bow equipment and the mooring gear. And finally, the privacy from other cabins is increased because no bulkhead of the master cabin is the same one as the other cabin's bulkheads. So this is, again, a very strong point.
And I'm so happy to see that there aren't any steps on the floor and the ceiling is flat. There aren't any edges or angles.
And that's not to be taken for granted on a boat of this size.
And check out the decor. It's so elegant, and the use of all these different materials is beautiful.
Super high quality. We have fine leathers, fabrics, velvets, lacquered woods, and another feature that has become one of our trademarks, the continuous uninterrupted wood texture that we find in our pieces of furniture. And this is another example of the high quality of our boats.
Every material is well thought out and it's so precious. The velvet of the headboard, the coating on the open shelves made of lacquered wood with inlaid details, the doors of the cabinet shelves made of leather.
And as we have already seen in the salon, the drawer knobs has the same top quality leather design.
Speaking of drawers, there is so much storage space.
Every little corner has been exploited on this boat. In addition to the actual walk-in wardrobe, which is huge and has a pocket door, once again, we have drawers underneath the bed and several cabinets all over the cabin.
There's definitely no shortage of space. And look at this vanity. It has such an enviable view.
We call it floating vanity, which, thanks to its design, does not weigh down the whole feel of the cabin. Likewise, the bedside tables and the bed itself are floating. Also, the bed is a queen-size bed, which, remember, we are on a 60-foot boat. And what's good about the floating solution, as we call it, is that it prevents you to hit your feet against the structure when you're walking around.
I see also that the lighting is particularly detailed in this cabin.
Yes, and there are adjustable reading lights, as well as an LED soft design on the ceiling with a lacquered wood. Finally, we have the air conditioning outlets up on the ceiling so it won't bother people on board. And for the entertainment side of the boat, we have the possibility to install 2 loudspeakers and the radio control in this cabin, as well as a TV set.
Shall we check out the ensuite head?
We shall, and I'll point out right away that there is a pocket door at the entrance and no steps to go from the cabin to the head.
You have not spared on the quality of the material in this head.
Never. We have a new type of marble for the countertops and a new design for the mirror area, enhanced by the great lighting which is indirect. And of course the presence of the inlaid wood that we saw in the cabin just gives a very elegant touch to the whole design of the head.
The space in this head is so roomy, and look at the huge shower and the 2 portholes that can both be opened.
This is one of the many plus of having the master cabin at the bow, because the cabin faces 2 sides, so we have 2 sets of windows and portholes. Also in this head we can add the heated tower rack, as well as on the whole heads in the lower deck we have the WC with bidet function. Please Carol, let's proceed to the VIP cabin, which has nothing to envy the master cabin.
Actually, this cabin could be considered the owner's second cabin. The space is so roomy, the height and the space. And look at the bed, how it is easily accessible on 3 sides.
Exactly. And the headboard is basically made by a huge window and a leather panel. In addition, the general furnishings all over this cabin is actually the same one we have already seen in the master cabin. So these guests as well are going to be well pampered.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much storage space around here.
Definitely. In addition to this cabinet, which has 2 doors and also serves as a vanity, we have a very big wardrobe in here. You can open it if you want. And inside it, you can see a secret door, which actually serves as a further storage compartment, but as well a technical area under the owner's cabin.
I really feel like every single corner was totally exploited.
Indeed it is. And last but not least, as all over the boat, we have the outlets of the air conditioning placed up high in the ceiling so that it won't bother people on board. The VIP cabin has its own ensuite head, and as you can see, both the door to the head and the door to access the cabin are pocket ones, and they completely disappear when they're opened.
And this head boasts the same high quality materials as the owner's head, right?
Exactly, that's true. And also we have an opening portal that serves as an air ventilation for the head, as well as plenty of storage space because we have 2 drawers there. We have arrived at the 3rd cabin, which for a 60-foot boat, the dimensions are impressive. And also the height is kept constant throughout the whole cabin, and the beds are regular singles.
And I see here too we have a very spacious wardrobe and a huge window.
Yes, and last but not least, this cabin as well has its own private head, which serves as a day head because it's easily accessible from the companionway. But I'll show you. Let's go. Another pocket door welcomes us to the day head, which is conveniently placed right at the bottom of the stairs, so it can be used also during the day. Of course, we have a separate shower with its own portal for air ventilation, as well as plenty of cabinets for storage, and last but not least, top quality material.
This is truly an amazing boat. But didn't Cesare mention something about the cruise cabin?
Yes, he did, but before going there, let's recap the key points we have highlighted during the tour of the lower deck. The 60 Fly is yet again another example of the successful engineering made it absolute, represented by the combination of our design and our production methods, first and foremost the ISS. All over the boat, we have been able to experience the strength points that characterize our boats, some of which are possible mainly thanks to the ISS. Let's go through some of them one more time. The very few steps on floors and ceilings allow people on board to move around freely, without worrying about tripping or hitting their heads. Comfortable and generous heights, both in main and lower decks. Huge-sized windows, both in the main and lower deck. Great visibility and ergonomics for both helm stations. Massive presence of pocket doors that, once opened, hide completely in the bulkheads, maximizing the space even more. Also, the actual dimensions of the doors are not sacrificed at all. IPS engines that, among other advantages like maneuverability and low consumptions, allow to maximize the accommodation space, since they are placed more towards the aft, reducing the space needed in the engine room. Air conditioning system carefully designed for best comfort on board. Wide beds with memory foam mattresses accessible from 3 sides, with spacious passages around them, and bedside tables with light controls and USB sockets. These are just a few of the main highlights that distinguish the whole Absolute range, and the new 60 Fly has proven to be no exception.
Now, Cesare, how did you enter this cabin?
Very good point. This door must be safe, first of all, and this is a full watertight door, which is the main feature. But other than this, it's very comfortable. Let me show you. The door is made by 2 parts. One is a pantograph opening, like this, and the other is a hatch which folds up. So you can enter while remaining upstanding. Very comfortable, as I said. But what is most important is the fixed part of the platform that allows you to enter even if the platform itself is down in the water, as you said before.
Very interesting, but tell me a little bit more about what's inside.
Yes, the height of the ceiling is very high and comfortable. It can accommodate up to 2 regular fixed beds. It has its own head, space for the washer-dryer, and it also has direct access to the engine's room for easier and more immediate maintenance. And last but not least, there are 2 openable portals for best comfort.
We truly hope you have enjoyed this tour on board Absolute's new 60 Fly, the Absolute Prisma. We are so proud of her and extremely excited to show her to the world.
The revolution has just begun, so stay tuned with us on our social media and website for the next events where the boat will be on display.
Thanks for watching and see you soon.